What's up, guys, and welcome to the weekly Q&A. Before questions, we just have a couple of things. First, I need to send a huge thank you to D. Scott and Silgi Stahl, who both joined our Patreon Jedi Council level this past week, which is amazing to get 2 new members, and just in time, because we're going to do our Jedi Council meeting pretty soon here. Also, I got a lot of questions this week about Fallen Order, the new video game, and I just figured instead of answering them in this video, I'm going to put all those questions together, and we'll do a separate Q&A all about that really soon. So with that, let's head into this week's questions.
Our first question comes from Stuart McGahey, who asks if the Knights of Ren are the handful of students that went with Ben Solo after he destroyed Luke's temple, or are they a different group of people?
I think it's hard to say right now. My gut says that they're a completely different group of people.
Really? Because from the flashback, my gut says that it's some other students.
I feel like that might be what Rian Johnson was hinting towards, or maybe that was something JJ asked him to do, or maybe Ryan asked him, who do you see the Knights of Ren as? But I don't know. I guess I am still holding on to kind of this older idea of the Acolytes of the Beyond that were introduced in the Aftermath books, and I always kind of thought that maybe they were the precursor to the Knights of Ren.
Yeah. From what we've seen from the episode 9 teaser trailer, I do, my opinion has changed. I'm starting to think that they're not the students that were with him, but originally I thought they were like the other students that revolted with Ben Solo, but now I don't know who they are.
It's a complete shot in the dark, and I think that both are totally valid. I think that the film, if you're looking at just film evidence, probably you would lean towards guessing they are Luke's students.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just kind of am holding on to this thing that might not be connected at all, but I thought that that's kind of what they were hinting at in the books.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll get some kind of comic or something before the movie actually comes out that will reveal to us who they are.
Well, we're getting some Age of Resistance comics, and one of them will be about Kylo Ren, so I could see that.
Or in Resistance, the TV show.
That could happen. I also know that before Chuck Wendig's Vader series got canceled, one of them was going to be about the Acolytes of the Beyond. And so those guys are still kind of bouncing around the story group somewhere. So yeah, I don't know. It is a complete shot in the dark. Oh, and I guess one other thing, Stuart in his question that I didn't include in the written part was asking about why don't they have lightsabers if they were Luke's students?
Good point.
That's another reason I liked this idea that they were non-Force users that then they admired Vader, but they didn't have the Force, and then Kylo shows up and they're like, oh, it's Vader's grandson, we'll follow this dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what the Acolytes of Beyond were. They were just dark side enthusiasts.
Groupies. Yeah,
but then you pointed out in the new visual encyclopedia that they are Force users. It lists them as dark side users, so I don't know anymore. Could be anything.
I am hoping that we find out more about them before the movie comes out, and it would be really cool if it were in Resistance.
Yeah, it would be nice to have a little more backstory about them before we see them in action finally.
Yeah. Greg Cash wants to know what we think Star Wars is about. Well, a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, blah, 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 blah. Yada, yada, yada.
Yada, 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 the galaxy was saved. I mean, obviously it means different things to different people. The theme that I always go back to is that, I mean, this is kind of coming straight from George Lucas's mouth, is that everyone has good and bad inside of them, and you can choose either one, but your life will be better if you choose the light side.
Mm-hmm.
And especially Vader's story is that you're never too far gone. You can always make that choice. If you've been choosing anger and hatred for a long, long time, it's never too late to change your mind and make reparations and go back to the people who love you.
Yeah. And it's, the rebellion and all the stuff about is the rebellion being built on hope, never giving up, always keeping hope. This small thing can light the spark, all that stuff about just like one little act can get things moving towards a better direction.
Mm-hmm. And I think that Star Wars is anti-war, despite the fact that it's called Star Wars. I think that there are a lot of aspects about, like, how we should fight for the things that we think are right.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Rose's line about saving what we love and not fighting what we hate is, I think, Lucas saying, well, I mean, Lucas didn't say that, but that's still a theme, I think, that has popped up in Star Wars over and over, especially in the Clone Wars, about how we go about. Yoda said it too in Star Wars Rebels. It's not like what we're fighting for. It's all about like how you do it.
Yeah. I'm thinking of Rose's quote now, and I just imagined, like, if your house caught on fire, you're not going to go fight the fire yourself. You're going to grab all of your most precious belongings. Alex is going to
fighting the flames.
Alex is going to grab all of his Biggs collection. I'll grab the cats.
I would grab a cat,
and like a lot of the Funko. Let's be honest.
I'd put a cat in the Biggs helmet. That's so I'm doing double duty.
Oh yeah, we need to like make a list of our important things that we would grab. Anyways, we would grab all that stuff and run. Mr. J.D. Rice asks if ships traveling through hyperspace theoretically fly through ships and other small objects.
So, from what I understand about hyperspace, it is a completely different dimension once you enter it. So, like, let's say the Holdo maneuver, obviously, she hit a ship.
But she was too close.
Right. She hadn't fully entered hyperspace at that point.
Yeah.
But, yes, I have to imagine that if you're traveling from one side of the galaxy to another through hyperspace, like, you're gonna be flying through heavy traffic areas and random meteorites and ships and stuff. So yeah, I think once you're in hyperspace, you're basically safe unless you are approaching a star or a supernova or another planet. Like, there are things that are big enough that will cause problems, but little things, I think it just doesn't matter with hyperspace.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a ton of like explaining about how hyperspace works in Star Wars, but I know in Thrawn Alliances they go into it a little bit because of the force are they force sensitive?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for the force sensitive Chiss children are how they
navigate the unknown regions.
Navigate through hyperspace. They just like know when to stop and go.
Yeah, so that way you don't crash into a planet that you didn't know it was there because it's the unknown regions.
Yeah.
They are able to use the Force to sense when that stuff's coming up, and they just divert. They make changes on the fly as you're in hyperspace.
Mm-hmm. Tom Nash wants to know if you need to read the TIE Fighter comic before reading Alphabet Squadron. Well, I hope not, because I haven't read it.
No, you don't. It's not even done. It's going to be 5 issues total, and I think the 3rd is about to come out. So, yeah, you're fine. Like, I've read the first 2 issues. And the main character of Alphabet Squadron appeared in like a couple of frames. None of the other characters have been called out by name in the book. So they might technically be present as part of Shadow Wing, but you don't have to like know their backstories and stuff in order to understand what happens in the book.
Yeah. Lachlan Morris asks, what was our first Star Wars video game? Mine was Shadows of the Empire on Nintendo 64.
I'm pretty sure mine was Dark Forces. It was either that or Star Wars Rebel Assault 2. Not the first one. I remember Rebel Assault 2 was the first game that, like, I saved up to... I was mowing lawns and stuff so that I could get it and play it. And my friend down the street had Dark Forces. I don't know which came first, but it was both of those around the same time.
Are those PC games?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think they were on PlayStation as well.
Yeah, I didn't really play any games on the computer until I got older. I had the consoles growing up. I had Nintendo, and then I went from old school Nintendo to N64 and then PlayStation. But yeah, as part of my N64 Christmas gift, I was also gifted a bunch of random games, and that was one of them. And I just remember the part where you get to use the tow cable on the AT-ATs. It's like a dream.
Oh, AT-ATs. You're one of those, huh?
No, I go back and forth.
That's it for patron questions. If you're a patron and you didn't see your question answered here, just head over to Patreon where we left you a written response. If you're not a patron, you can learn more by following the link in the description. Just $1 a month will get you access to extra Star Wars Explained content like audio commentaries for the films, and we're doing audio commentaries for all the Clone Wars episodes chronologically right now, so this week is the episode Landing at Point Rain, so you can check that out right now if you're interested. And also for the rest of this episode, this Q&A, since we were out at EA Play, we had the chance to ask some of our friends some questions. So we're going to do those 3, and then we're going to answer 2 YouTube questions. So here are our EA Play questions. I'm sitting here with Hello Greedo. He's still got the helmet on.
Yeah.
It looks a little different, but so a couple questions for you.
Sure.
Alex Brennan and Hiromatsu ask if you're going to go back to watching Star Wars Rebels after you finish the Clone Wars.
That's exactly what I was thinking as you started that question. I watched the first season of Rebels, really enjoyed it, and then for whatever reason I stopped. Started watching the Clone Wars, so once I finish the Clone Wars, I'll go back to Rebels, and then probably Resistance. And by that time, it'll be so long between things, and nobody will care.
I do think that Rebels gets better and better. Season 1 is its weakest season, in my opinion.
I enjoyed the first season. I don't know why I stopped, but yeah, I enjoyed it.
It gets better.
Yeah.
Okay, second question, kind of related to EA Play, E3, and all that. The Tierney Legion asks if there's any classic Star Wars game you would want remastered for current gen consoles.
I'm gonna say no, because I've never been a fan of remastered games, ever, for whatever reason. I just want new games. If I had to pick one, I would say Star Wars Galaxies, though, just because it's my all-time favorite Star Wars game. It's an MMO. It's just perfect in every sense of the word to me. So I'll go with Galaxies, but no, Tyrion. No.
Well, what's your ideal Star Wars game then?
Like a Fallout, Skyrim style Star Wars game, just completely free roam. You can do whatever you want, be whatever you want. That's my dream game in the Star Wars world, I guess.
Nice.
So, yeah.
This is Elliot from Battlefront Updates, if you don't know him already, and this question comes from Resistance Chris. Who would you want as your Jedi Master, and why?
Probably Qui-Gon Jinn, because I feel like a lot of the Jedi overall are very strict, and I don't fully agree with all the Jedi rules, because they're, too strict, and I think I've kind of liked something in between Jedi and Sith, like Ahsoka's kind of, but since she's not a Jedi Master, I'd probably go for Qui-Gon Jinn, because he feels a bit more chill than most others.
I liked the way Eckhard Slatter put it, is that, he'd let you have a girl in the room.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think, Qui-Gon is a good pick.
Okay. Horn dog. This is Justin. You probably know him as Eckhart Slatter. And Christian Morales says, with some apparent concept art from The Force Awakens, there is speculation that Rey and friends may take the Falcon underwater in The Rise of Skywalker. What knowledge can you share about actual spacecraft or ships underwater?
Almost none, but I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work. They're tight against space, so they're used to pressure, so there's no reason, I think, why they couldn't operate underwater. I think Legends had an AT-AT that could swim, AT-AT swimmer, so maybe they'll do something like that. I don't think the Falcon will end up underwater, but it'd be cool. Other than that, not a whole lot else to add. Most of my knowledge is related to fake spaceships. I don't know much about the science aspect, so.
I don't think any of us do, so that's fine.
Maybe space talk.
On to YouTube questions. Adam Donofrio asks if C.O. Bibble's message to Amidala in The Phantom Menace was actually a trick.
I think that it may have been a trick, but I don't think it was C.O. Bibble doing the tricking. I think maybe someone from the Trade Federation tricked him into sending a message.
Oh.
Like, I don't think that C.O. Bibble was trying to trick Padme into coming back.
No, I don't either.
And I don't think he was trying to get them tracked or anything.
Yeah. I think he's, I don't want to say smarter than doing that. Simpler, maybe.
I think he was, to me, he's a pure soul.
Pure and simple.
Yeah, I don't want
old C.O. Bibble.
I don't want C.O. Bibble to be a bad guy. And I mean, he was still the governor in Attack of the Clones.
He was just doing his job.
He's still around in Revenge of the Sith. If it had been discovered that he was doing something nefarious, he should have been tossed in jail or something. So, no, I don't think he was in the wrong or trying to do something evil.
Yeah, just like when Jar Jar, makes the call in the Senate. He's just doing his thing, doing his job, doing what he thought was right.
Well, you got some theorists out there that would disagree with you,
Well.
but I agree with you.
Douglas Keene wants to know, if Anakin were never born, would the Jedi Order still fall as a result of the Clone Wars?
I think yes. I think that Anakin was just like a happy surprise to Palpatine.
Yeah. If Anakin hadn't been born, Palpatine still would have had the same plan to become the Emperor and create the Empire, I think.
Yeah, it had already started by the time we meet Anakin.
Yeah. And he just, would have stuck with Maul or, chosen...
Dooku or...
Yeah, Dooku or maybe a younger model.
Younger and more powerful.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that ultimately he had the same plan and it was going to go off whether Anakin was there or not. I mean...
Maybe he would have chosen what was the Jedi, the Mon Cala Jedi in that episode?
Nadar Veb.
Yeah. He would have been Darth Vader.
I think there were other options. Nadarth.
Barriss
Quinlan.
He would have been Nadarth.
Nadarth Veb. Yep.
Veb.
All right. Well, this question's over. We're not going to get anything better than that.
Nadarth Veber.
That's all the time we have for questions and silly puns today. If you want to leave a question for next week's video, just put it in the comments below or sign up for Patreon to join our weekly Q&A discussion. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
And as always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.
Our first question comes from Stuart McKay.
McGahee.
McKay?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It is a complete shot in the dark. Oh, and I guess one other thing, Stuart in his question that I didn't include in the written part was I feel it.
I mean, there's a few little pieces.
I feel like one. I think you got it. When I'd turn my head to look at you, I'd feel it go.
Mr. J.D. Rice asks if Oosh said Overcooked 2 DLC came out.
If you're a patron and didn't see your question answered here, just head over to Patreon where we left you a written response.
Gross.
I tried to hold it.
Got hair on my nose. Always cat hair. Douglas.
Douglas.